All right, we're going to connect two things today that you'd probably never, ever think to put in the same sentence. On one hand, we've got designing ethical AI for our cities, and on the other, the deeply human challenge of ending homelessness. Now, I know it sounds like a stretch, but you're going to see that the blueprint for solving both is, well, surprisingly similar. Let's get into it. So let's just start with the main question right up front. What does something as technical as ethical AI have to do with helping someone get back on their feet and find a job? I mean, you've got complex algorithms over here and the basic fundamental need for a fresh start over there. How could they possibly be connected? Well, it all comes down to how we build systems that are meant to actually serve people. And this, right here, just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, you've got this very structured, very technical-looking pyramid for governing AI. But on the right, you see the result of a really well-structured human system. You can feel it in those words from Nick, a client at Firstep Staffing. And that feeling of freedom, it doesn't come from chaos. It comes from a system that was built from the ground up with purpose and with dignity. Okay, first, let's talk about the tech side of things. And look, we're not talking about the AI that picks your next movie. We're talking about artificial intelligence that's starting to really shape our local communities, everything from managing traffic to delivering public services. This is what experts are calling community AI. And the whole idea is pretty simple. Its goal is to serve local needs, to make our neighborhoods better, not just to turn a profit. But with all that potential comes some very, very real risks if we don't get it right from the start. And here are those risks. If an AI is trained on biased data, guess what? It can just reinforce discrimination. A lot of these models are what they call black boxes, which literally means we don't even know how they're making their decisions. And that creates massive problems for privacy, for our community values, and for accountability. I mean, who's responsible when a community AI actually causes harm? So to stop that from happening, researchers have come up with frameworks like this ethical AI governance pyramid. What's so cool about this is you can see how it builds a solution in layers. It's not about one single fix. It starts with a solid foundation of data governance and works its way up. It's really a blueprint for building tech we can actually trust. So the most important part is what's holding that whole pyramid up. It all starts with being transparent about how data is collected and getting the community directly involved. It's about building these systems with people, not just dropping them on people. So remember, these three words: trust, transparency, and participation. Okay, so keep those ideas in mind. We're going to switch gears now from the digital world to one of the most real, tangible, and human challenges we face, helping people break through the barriers that stand between homelessness and a steady job. There's this organization called Firstep Staffing, and they make a really bold promise to the people they serve. People who are facing homelessness, veterans, folks who've been impacted by the justice system. Their goal is to get them a job in 72 hours. Seriously, how is that even possible? Well, it's possible because they understand the real roadblocks. Just listen to this Reddit user. Something as basic as not having an address can completely stop a job search in its tracks. It's a systemic wall that, let's be honest, most of us never even have to think about. And it doesn't stop there. The barriers just stack up. Another person points out that an address is just step one. If you don't have a safe place to sleep, a place to keep your things, or just a way to get clean before an interview, holding down a job can feel absolutely impossible. It's a classic vicious cycle. And this is exactly where Firstep's model is so brilliant. They don't just hand someone a job listing. They've built an entire system to methodically tear down those walls. They help with transportation, work gear, all the support needed. They see an untapped workforce that's just ready to go. So this is where it all starts to click. We've looked at a framework for building ethical technology, and we've looked at a framework for building human opportunity. Now let's put them side by side and see just how similar they are. So how do you do it? How do you build a system, whether it's made of code or made of people, that actually works and works for everyone? Well, the big idea here is that the principles are pretty much universal. Doesn't matter if you're a city planner or a software developer. The answer, it turns out, is to start in the exact same place, with human dignity. Take a look at the process for implementing community AI. Phase 1 isn't about writing code. It's ethical scoping and community engagement. You start by defining shared values with the community before a single piece of data is even touched. Now look at Firstep's process. See the parallel? It's also a phased human-centered approach. It starts with orientation, with understanding what a person actually needs. It removes the immediate barriers first, then places them in a job, and then provides support for the long haul. It's the exact same logic. Understand the person and their world first. And this is where it all comes together. The principles are direct mirrors of each other. For an AI system, transparency is all about creating trust. In a human system, community participation in tech, that's about giving personal agency to an individual. And fairness by design is really just a technical way of saying dignity-centered service. Both blueprints are built on a foundation of human values.
And this quote from Firstep CEO, Amelia Nickerson, just captures the end result of a system like this perfectly. The ultimate goal isn't just about getting a paycheck. It's about empowering someone to, in her words, prove yourself to yourself. Now that is real impact.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It means that whether we're trying to build the future of technology or tackle these huge social challenges, the most powerful solutions are often the ones closest to home. From the tech companies in the Gorge Technology Alliance to the social programs of the Mid-Columbia Houseless Collaborative, the source materials show us that real change happens when local groups actually work together. The solutions with the most power are built from the ground up, and they never lose focus on human dignity. And look, this isn't just a feel-good story. This approach actually works. The numbers prove it. Community-driven AI, it has a 40% higher adoption rate because people trust it. Firstep, they paid out over $42 million in wages last year, and 70% of their clients are still working after a month. These aren't just stats. They represent changed lives. I wanted to leave you with this really powerful thought from Amelia Nickerson. She completely reframes how we should see this. The people working so hard to get back on their feet aren't problems that need to be solved. Their daily perseverance is, as she puts it, a heroic effort. So maybe building better systems for tech, for people, for anything is really just about recognizing and supporting the heroic efforts that are already happening all around us. Which leads us to our final question for you. What heroic effort does your community need next?